Hey everybody, we're live.
No.
I'm planning on making another quick video after this, and I'll be uploading these on my Facebook. Some of my other videos, I just delete them on my Facebook page because it's just for fun or other things. But when we talk more about serious stuff like this, I'm going to keep the information. But I don't really like being in front of the camera. But I do like teaching, and I am knowledgeable, and I love to learn, etc. So today we're going to be talking about what to look for when you first receive items or you begin in Santeria or Ocha, as it's properly called, Regla de
Ocha.
Ocha, Lukumi.
Yeah. Lukumi.
Um,
Santeria.
this more applies to like the Cuban path
The King Path or Reach tradition.
of Orisha tradition, and not from Voodoo or Ifa, because we haven't received things in that, and we're not as familiar with that. But we're just going to skip over the whole part about getting the proper readings in the tradition, finding how to find godparents, all that. We're going to skip over all that because it's kind of another subject. We're actually going to talk about specific items and specific ceremonies that are done as a beginner, as when you first get into the tradition, to know whether or not your items have been made correctly. Basically, that some priests may even give items out correctly to some people and then not do it correctly for other people. And some just have no idea or have their own reasons for not doing things correctly. But as a newcomer or a beginner, you would have no idea whether something is done correctly or not done correctly. So these are some things that are not secrets, but you might not have heard about them. We're going to start talking off basically about warriors and beads. I guess that's basically what we're mostly going to talk about. Your elekes, Maurizio is a Santero, and he's wearing elekes or beads here, represent the Orisha. You don't just buy them off the shelf at the Botanica. There's ceremonies that are done for them, and you don't just consecrate them yourself, etc. I think most people know that, but we see foolishness, I guess, in all these groups and things that people doing things all the time.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself, what you are.
Well, I'm a Santero, so what that means is I've gone through the process of being crowned. The Orisha on my head is Obatala. The path is a Yaguna. My mother is Imaya Okute, and these things you don't find out about until they mark you in a ceremony, rather with Mano de Rula or just a separate Ifa ceremony of marking you with the shells through an Oriate.
Hi, Axel. Hi, Nathan, and everybody else. So we're not really going to talk about being crowned and whether or not that's done properly, although we can talk a little bit about knowing who your head Orisha is after we talk about the main stuff we want to talk about, which is receiving. No, he didn't get crowned in Canada. He got crowned in Vegas. And then his lineage goes back to Cuba and back through Florida too, I believe, right? Your lineage.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, no, but we both live in Canada. There's not too many of us up here. So let's first talk about you can receive your beads and warriors together. Is there an order? Like, do you first get your beads or do you first get your warriors?
There's even more to it than that, actually. There's some people who just get Mano de Rula first, for example. I've seen a lot of people go through that path as well.
But that's Ifa, and that's something separate.
Totally separate, yes. Yeah. But they have a lot of things that run linear towards it in similarities. But there's more. I'd say there's still some differences, but we're not going to talk about that. I'd say the thing is, if you're going to not do Mano de Rula first, you have to get elekes first before you get warriors, just the way it goes. Because it's like when you get the eleke ceremony, it's like a signal to the Orishas that you're entering the path.
So they recognize you. It's like you're being introduced to the Orishas, and so they know who you are, but they may or may not. They protect you. Your elekes protect you.
They bless you, protect you from danger, all these things. You get the blessings. It's almost like a baptism, I'd say, in some form or another when it comes to entering the faith through receiving the eleke ceremony.
So it's like a badge or a flag, basically.
Well, all these color patterns are all the flags of the Orisha, right? There's different generic patterns, and there's other specific patterns for each Orisha for their avatar path.
So, for example, a Yamaya,
Well, I don't have Okute's path on this one, but
it's not just blue
for
and white.
example, like this one is a general, generic, sorry, Obatala path. This is a Yaguna, so it's like the youngest Obatala. So instead of it just being a generic all white
Obatala necklace.
Obatala necklace, it's going to have some bits of red in it.
Because there's different paths to most Orishas, but not all Orishas, and then so they'll have a different color pattern, right? Different number
for
of beads,
example,
different
like
colors.
Chango and Oya, they don't get paths, for example.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, so we can talk about that too. So, the do the godparents tie the knot or string the necklace, or can they untie one from a botanica and like tie it back together, basically?
Well, I would know that the ones in the Botanica are no good because a Santero has to be the one to say something when they tie the knot.
But could they untie the knot and then say something to tie the knot? Maybe.
I guess they could.
The string might be too short by then to retie it.
It's just not the way it's supposed to be done. Like the way it should be done, but its controversy is that the beads you receive for the Elekes in the ceremony is supposed to be in the path of your godparent.
So you wouldn't get a plain Obatala necklace if you would get the one pattern made it in your godparent's pattern.
Exactly.
In not all houses, but most houses.
But most houses would do it
that way.
This way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so these are what we call like fancy beads. So they're not just the plain ones. They don't look like the plain ones. I don't know if you can come a bit closer so they can see.
Yeah.
They're not the plain ones that you would find in a botanica. They're more decorative, and that's optional.
And there's even more fancy, and this is like, semi-precious stones that can add into it, all this kind of stuff. You can get really, really
nice gemstones if you
really
want.
Beautiful. So
okay, so you get your beads before your warriors. When it comes, so we'll talk about beads first, I guess. Then, since we're already talking about that. So, do beads need animals at the ceremony? Does blood go in the herb mixture?
Which is omiro.
Oh, which is called omiro. It's the herbs in the water. It's called omiro.
Of every single ceremony, there has to be omiros. There has to be plants. That's the number one indicator. If you don't see any plants, which sometimes they won't really show it to you, and you'll be able to know this. But the thing is that that's why I tell everybody is like if there's a ceremony, there has to be plants. There has to be sing the Orisha songs. It can't just be like mumble, jumble, whatever, or just.
It's talking. It's not in English.
Yeah, it's in Lukumi, which is like a combination of the what's the word I'm looking for here?
Yoruban.
Yeah, the Yoruban language mixed around. I guess you could say it's like some Spanish, some Spanglish, and some other stuff. There,
Bosal.
I have no idea.
That means like wild, like just mixture, a country mixture.
Exactly. It's got so like diluted from what was the original Yoruba language that the slaves intermixing and stuff. But
not to get off track, but they have brought Babalaos and people from Yoruba to Cuba, and they do
things they lost,
things that came from it,
preserved. Yes.
Okay, so let's not go controversial. We were talking about.
But the thing is, I would say in most houses there is blood of animals put into the omiro plant.
So not all houses do sacrifice over the beads, but there must be fresh plants.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, from what I understood previously is that there is blood on the beads on the Elekes.
That's what I've always.
That's what I've always understood.
That's what I've always understood too. But apparently, the house I came from said that you don't need it in there, which I find is very strange.
I don't think all houses do, but
yeah.
So when you get your beads, they sing a song for each Orisha for each necklace, right? That's the main thing we wanted to get across. Is that they sing a specific Orisha song for each Orisha when they're doing each necklace, right?
Right.
So if they're not singing an Orisha song for each necklace, then that's a big red flag to look out for
What do you
about
mean?
your ceremony.
Well,
right?
it's not going to be the same song for each one. Like, for example, if the Oshun one will do an Oshun
That's
song.
what I mean. Yeah, Alegua gets an Alegua song.
Exactly.
Yeah. I thought the blood was on the string. The string soaks up
The blood and the omiro and everything. But what I'm saying is the mixture with the water and the plant mixture, which is called omiro. Usually, I always thought there was blood in there, but some people in some lineages don't put blood in.
So not all lineages, not all houses do that, and that's not necessarily considered incorrect, but the majority do.
But that's for elekes, what I'm talking about, not for other ceremonies. Like
for the beads is what he's talking about.
which is the beads, And then I think we'll go on next. We'll talk about the warriors. It pretty much
sums up the beads is that there should be fresh plants in water. There should be a song sung for each Orisha necklace specific to that Orisha. Basically,
the rest I can't really go into detail. I'm kind of speaking a lot on some things, but I
don't know if we talked about anything else that we wanted to talk about the beads. They're probably given by your prospective godparents too. They don't need to continue to be your godparents, but why wouldn't you trust them to be your godparent if you trust them to be your elekes, right?
They'll be your godparents of your elekes, but at the same time, it's like these are the people that you're looking for to you're building a relationship and a foundation with, to eventually lead you into being a priest or priestess of the faith.
If that's your destiny, but you're under no obligation to then buy other things from them or continue in their religion just because you received your beads from them, right?
Well, you're part of their house.
You're part of their house. You join their house by getting the beads.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct. So you are obligated technically to get from them. It'd be highly disrespectful to go elsewhere and then.
Right.
But unless something like didn't work out, that there was like shadiness and all this stuff and bad blood, then I would say that you have all the right to walk away and you can walk away.
I have another question too. Are the beads, they're not supposed to be plastic, they're supposed to be check glass beads or gemstone, right?
Well, there's no
set standard on that?
There's no set standard on it.
Because I know they had like a limitation to access to materials in Cuba. They couldn't always get probably
exactly the
same beads.
Yeah, more of the higher brand. But I don't know. I remember it was telling me that the beads I got are actually very much so the plastic beads instead of not the check beads, supposedly. Because the check ones are glass, these are like plastic. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Hi guys, thanks for the connect, by the way. No problem, Eugene. I referred Eugene, and I do refer people to people that we know that are good to work with, or at least things that they say connect with what we know as far as we know. Mauricio, you're the one you got him in a Spiritista in New York, I think.
Yeah, I think that was Malcolm actually. Yeah. He's
good
awesome.
Peeps. So with your beads, also, you're not supposed to drink with them on. You're not supposed to have sex with beads on.
Well, there's some controversy with the drinking thing because people say don't drink with them
or don't get drunk, don't get wasted.
Yeah,
and do drugs.
And don't do drugs with them. Definitely, that's the one thing. Don't do drugs. Drinking, I think, in moderation is okay with them, but you won't go to the club with them wearing them is one thing. The third thing is like these are considered the flags of the Orisha. They are not the actual Orisha themselves, not the ashe of the Orisha, because it's just, even though there's ashe technically put into the omiro, the controversy is basically that
they're still sacred.
And you don't sleep with somebody
Iris.
them on. You don't shower with them on. You don't go to the beach with them on, like going into the water, like bathing and stuff.
You can go give your offering to Yamiya with them on, but you wouldn't just sit on a resort on the beach in your swim trunks, a pina colada on a lounge chair.
I'm just saying don't go into water.
Oh, don't go into water with them. So don't go swimming.
Yeah, don't go swimming. Yeah.
Okay, don't go swimming with them on. Don't sleep with them on.
Don't sleep with them on.
At nighttime, you have to take them off, right?
Take them off, that's right, yeah.
Okay. And so these are things that you're whoever gave you the necklaces should be telling you about how to properly respect the necklaces.
Respect and take care of them. Yeah.
When you receive your beads, is that when you're like an IOO for like the 5 or 7 days, or is that when you receive the warriors?
7 days. You're at
so talk about that. After you get your beads, you have to
dress in white for 7 days. I can understand people have jobs and they have to wear a uniform. Obviously, Orisha are not the ones just paying your rent, your bills, etc. So they understand. So there's leniency, of course. So you would just like go to work, dress in your uniform, get out when you get home or whatever, and
Armando,
and dress in white
or light colors. Some people say light colors.
Some people say light colors, but the majority of everybody will say dress in white completely from head to toe.
And that's for how many days after you get your necklaces?
7.
7 days. So are you supposed to do the other things that you are and are not supposed to do, like an IOL, for those 5-7 days? Like, are you allowed to drink? Are you allowed to? It's not the full extent, though.
I wasn't really told to.
Just light colors.
That you couldn't drink for 7 days. I've never heard anyone say that you can't drink. But then when you're in Iowa, you can't drink. Can't go out after 6 o'clock.
Yeah, people touch you.
People can't touch you.
Can't shake hands.
But
can't
it's
hug.
Different when you're
just beads. I don't think they have the same rules, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's not as intense.
Yeah, you don't sit on the floor. You don't eat on the floor.
You don't eat on the floor. Yeah.
If anybody has any basic questions about receiving your beads and warriors, you can ask. Again, Maurizio's Santero. It's Crown Papalau. And there's some things like I wouldn't know. Like, as a newcomer, if I walked in to go get my beads or my warriors, I was given a reading indicating that I needed those things. Because I don't think you can just decide I want beads, can you?
No.
Your reading has to say that you need beads.
Exactly. That's probably the way to go about it.
Okay. So it's not like a fashion statement like I want beads.
Exactly.
It's the Orisha say you need beads.
Exactly.
Basically.
To go through that path, pretty much.
To start the path.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, if no one else has questions about beads, we'll start talking about warriors.
Right.
So they can be given, we'll say together, but the beads are given first, but in the same day or the next day.
I've seen the beads and the warriors done in one
day.
I
think so.
Or was it a day apart? I can't remember. But there's a lot that goes into the warrior ceremony. The bead ceremony, because it's like 3 mini ceremonies in one, which I can't really talk about.
Okay, that's fine. So warriors basically is like receiving orishas, basically.
Yes, they're orishas.
They are orishas. But receiving Ogun, you wouldn't receive an Ogun Sopera, you just that work. Like, what's the difference between receiving an Orisha, like the Orisha, and receiving them in a warrior form? Is there a difference?
Well, the warriors are the warriors, so you get usually Elegua, Ogun, and Osun. In Babalawo Gizmo, you get Eshu instead of Elegua. But those are the 2 people that can give it to you, either Babalawo or rather a Santero.
So you get Elegua, Osun,
Ogun. And in Ogun lives Ochosi.
Ochosi lives inside Ogun's pot.
Yes, they live together, yes. And some houses will give 1 stone, some houses will give 2 stones. Either way, it's still correct. Mine has 1 stone. Personally, I feel I should get a 2nd stone, but it's whatever.
So basically, it's not a secret that some stones go inside.
Yeah, exactly.
The warriors.
Orisha are
inside the Orisha.
Orisha live in the stone, pretty much. It's an Ota or an Otane, they call it. So whatever you receive as Orisha, if there's no stone or stones,
rocks, basically.
Yeah, then it's on Orisha, Some give Elegua just the stone that stands up, and you put in a little like clay terracotta dish.
So you can look inside an open-faced dish, and you can look in there and see a stone and be like, that's Elegua.
Exactly. And this Elegua has gone through songs, preparation, things from Yarrow. So basically what I want to say about the warriors ceremony is that if you do not see like chickens, roosters, or guinea fowls
Birds.
or whatever, um, or pigeons, I'll just said that, then you're gonna know that there's something off because they're not gonna give like a turtle or something different, or just have no animals. Without the blood of the animals, there's no Orisha being born. Without the Omiro, which means the plant water mixture where they break the fresh plants and they sing all this stuff. Now there are things that go behind the scenes, which is like lavatoria, which is getting a little bit more advanced. So basically, they do stuff
That you're not going to be able to see.
that you're not going to be able to see for the ceremony. So you won't know about the full correctness of every ceremony, but there's things that happen that you are involved with the ceremony, and if you don't see those parts that are being done correctly, it's pretty safe to say that things are being done incorrectly.
Yes, we're live, Eddie, and we're talking about receiving your beads and your warriors and any questions you have and how you know that it's done correctly. So you might want to go back and actually watch the beginning of this video as after we go on. But so basically you receive Ogun is usually a cauldron with his tools inside of it, metal tools.
Yeah, so say one metal tool which belongs to Chosi, which is like this metal like crossbow looking thing chain. You will see a spear. There's a machete. There's a, what do you call that thing that goes with like a metalsmith, a blacksmith that uses
anvil, a
the
hammer, and anvil
yeah,
thing.
a hammer, an anvil, and a shovel, a metal shovel.
But I mean, you can go look at Original Botanica's website and you can go see the tools in the cauldron.
Exactly. But it's not like you just go to a store and you just buy these tools.
Throw a rock in it.
And throw a rock in it. When I say, I have an Orisha, it doesn't work that way. No, there's a certain process to it.
But we're just describing what it looks like.
Exactly.
Also,
there's Osun, which is the...
Well, let's talk about Legua first, not skip him, because you were talking before, like how he could look like a stone in a dish. But there's different looking Aleguas.
Yes. And some Aleguas are kind of like cemented with like
the cowrie shells
with
and
the
stuff.
cowrie shells. If, let's say a path is like Eshuaye, that Alegua has a conch shell. They put secrets and they pack
I think my Padrino has, or maybe my Yaya has that one.
Right, and then there's like Eshu Leroyer.
Are you going to know that though when you receive your warriors, what your path of Alegua is going to be?
Some houses pull the Alegua path. Most houses, I think, usually wait till the very end of where you get crowned.
So you might not know.
So you might not know. It depends.
So would you get an additional Alegua then? If they gave you an Alegua and that's not your path Alegua, would they make you another Alegua?
Oh, the Alegua that you get
as part of the warriors.
As part of the warriors, as part of your path. Like to go.
But how are you going to know that if you're not marked yet and you're just receiving your warriors?
Because they do a ceremony behind the scenes, and it's like
to talk to Alegua.
Walks with you. Like they don't give you an Alegua, just a walk with you. It's an Alegua. Like they throw Obi, which is a coconut divination, and they check to see, like, does this stone have life? Does this stone walk with Maurizio? Does this stone walk with Bree?
So they don't just grab any random rock. They find a rock that they think is Alegua, and then they ask.
Are you Alegua? Well, they probably ask first, like, are you alive? And then it says yes, like, are you Alegua?
Interesting. I never knew that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that your Alegua can look differently. It might not be a dish with a stone in it.
Yeah, it could be like cemented terracotta plate with
like those heads that you see, and those fake heads that people sell. Kind of it looks like that.
No, it'd be more like a stone that's embedded in.
Like those cone heads, the cement cone heads with the cowrie shell.
More like the Eshu thing that they would make depending for what you get through Babalao.
Oh, so it's more an Eshu through Babalao.
Yeah, it's more of an Eshu in my opinion. But there's different Aleguas that.
The point is there are different Aleguas, and they can look differently. And just because someone receives an Alegua as a warrior, it looks different than yours, doesn't mean that
it's incorrect.
It's incorrect.
Or wrong, yeah.
Right. So you receive a cauldron, Vogun, that Ochosi lives inside. You receive an Alegua, who can look different ways.
Yes.
And then you receive an Osun.
Which is like a chalice, metal chalice, which can be enclosed. Well, all of them are able to be enclosed and locked in, where they put secrets inside of it. And there's a metal rooster on top of that chalice, which is embedded and all sealed up, basically.
And then the Osun is not to be confused with Oshun, but it's
Right.
spelt Osun.
That's
correct?
correct. Yeah.
So that is also a warrior, or you receive it with your warriors.
Right. The other thing I'm going to say, a lot of these ceremonies you receive for receiving an Orisha, there are actions that are implemented that you do, as well as with the people who are designating the ceremony that they direct you to do and stuff. So
they'll tell you to do certain things during the ceremony.
Exactly. So if you're not doing something where you're involved with it,
that's an important point.
Then
so if you're just sitting there doing nothing the entire time, it's not right.
You're not like, here's Ogun.
Here you go, or I'll mail it to you. No, it's in person, and you actually have to participate. You don't just sit there and do nothing.
There's a form of participation, whether you're actively doing it or something is happening towards you as they do it in some type of format. But I can't really go more in detail than that.
That's okay. So Osun is usually placed high up, at the highest point in your place, or high up on a shelf or something above your head.
Above your head, that's correct.
And I was reading something in Orisha Space the other day on Facebook.
That he warns against witchcraft?
That if it falls over, that's a sign of negative energy or witchcraft, that you have to be alert about something that it fell over. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's right. And then, I don't know if this is secret or not, but I'm going to say it because they publicly posted it, is that it's linked to your physical body. That they don't tip it over until you die or something like that, because it's related to your protection of, or your life, or your physical body in death or something like that.
Well, it's kind of like linked to your head, to your aura or something. I don't understand all the
logistics of it.
Yeah, I don't understand everything about it, but all I know is it's linked to the mind.
That's why they put it above your head, because it has to go above your aura or something.
Yeah, so there can be like clarity and all this kind of stuff, because you don't want your head to be like low and all ungrounded.
You want your mind to be elevated,
to be able to be clear and to see around.
To have that vision and that perspective. So that's why the Osun is put up high.
Interesting.
Osun. Osun. And I know my godfather broke somebody's open, and it had you don't need to talk about what goes inside of it, but I think all it had was cornmeal and some cotton or something. So a lot more goes in there apparently than that.
Yeah.
And again, I guess you can't talk about that.
I've been given some information
that more goes in there
of what goes into it specifically, but it's definitely not those kind of things.
Not those things. Okay.
And there's more than one way to prepare them. There's not there's just this one fashion of making it. There's different ways.
Different ways to make it.
You can make it and stuff. Yeah.
So is that the 3 items that you receive when you receive your warriors, or do you receive more things?
That's it.
That's it. You receive those 3 items.
Yep. Aligua, Ogun, and Osun.
And a Babalao can give it, or you can get it from a Santero.
That's right. But
you're going to receive an Eshu versus an Alegua, depending on if you get it in Ifa or Ocha.
That's correct, yeah.
Now, some houses let you, even though you're not crowned, throw obi, which is coconut, to your warriors to communicate with them, but it's only for your own communication. It's not for communicating for other people, and just to check to see whether or not they're happy with their offerings, right?
Exactly, yeah. Another question, so you could ask them I need something in my life to manifest or to go away. Will you be able to help me? And then you can go ask questions and do things. But then it's kind of
it's more like working,
but it's more like advanced territory.
Mm-hmm.
But I know most houses won't let you throw coconut, which is obi. And
most don't let you.
Most don't, and I've usually tried to build an intuitive relationship with them. And people probably say this is wrong or whatever, but I would personally go out of my way and just not let them gain dust. I would go from the heart, and I would cook them a meal or whatever. Go a little bit above and beyond, and do different things with them to try to manifest.
To try to communicate with them, so you know how to take care of them, right?
Yeah, it's not really communication. It's more I have this vibe that like, wow, like will be willing to help me if I give him like, I don't know, I'll make a pudding out of grabba or something, or like I'll give him grabba and just talk to him and just be like, if I give you this, if this happens in my life, I'll give you this, and then if it actually happens, and I'll just give him that. It's a relationship you build, but it's not like a. Sometimes I feel that like, wow, it's almost like a contract you make all the time, where it's just like, I'll give you this if you give me this, I'll give you this, if you give me that, Like,
Hi, Amy. We're talking about receiving beads and warriors. So I'm a little confused. So if you get crowned, say you get crowned a legua, do you actually receive an alegua and a sopera, or do you receive another alegua?
You would receive another legua most likely because there's the legua that goes to your feet and there's the legua that goes to your head. Wait, am I right with that? Yeah, I am. Yeah, that's right.
So you receive two?
Yeah.
Like more than the warrior? So you receive three?
It's kind of confusing too because I'm trying with this. Okay. You would just receive like you get your parent Orisha, which means like I'm probably thinking like John for a second, which is my first crown of the house, because he's double a legua, I think, or something. So he got a legua on his head and a legua on his feet.
Oh, that's how you're double.
So that's how you get the legua on your feet. Sorry, but if you're like a legua and like Oshun or something, then Oshun would go on your feet. I believe is what it's called. Yeah. So that's how it's all different. But we're kind of going off topic a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little more even advanced even for me.
Yeah.
I do know that when some people read you, they will hold the divination methods. They will hold it to your feet, like they'll hold the shells to your feet and your head and your hands to read you and stuff like that.
I know that it comes to that when it comes to like more with the OB than it is with the Diligun. With the Diligun, it's more like.
And I've mostly seen that in Palo too, which is a different system. But I'm just saying it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So unless anybody has any other questions, we're going to sign off real quick. But I think I have another question. I had another question, but I didn't know. I don't really remember what it was.
What was it entailing? A little bit.
So the warriors, obviously, they protect you.
They open the roads for you. They destroy obstacles and things blocking you. They ground you in a lot of ways, I would probably say too.
But I've heard some people say like you can't really work them. That it's like more for like your own protection.
Oh, you can work with them. I mean, you can get a reading. You can tell her do this and that. Like.
But you can't really go to them. Like my friend Susie's having a problem with not getting a job, so I'm gonna go.
You can be proficient in being crowned and
no, you're not crowned yet. You just have your warriors.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't just go to your warriors for that.
For you, you can't do anything for anybody else until you're a priest or priestess, and you've passed your year.
So those warriors are only for you. You can't go use them for.
Hell no.
Other people.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. I know this is kind of controversial. Can women give out warriors?
Santeria, they can, but they can't. It's like they are having their warriors birth another set of warriors, but they're not doing the ceremony at all. It's a man who is giving them out, not a woman.
So they're facilitating, but you still need.
Because they're out of menstrual cycle and all this stuff, basically.
Not while they're on their mens. You say they're not on their menstrual period. Can they?
I don't think they can, from my understanding. I think a man has to give them out, from my understanding.
I heard that some people are starting to, but again, a lot of people are starting to do a lot of stuff that they shouldn't be doing.
From my understanding, even like one elder told me, she said that when she's giving them out, it's not herself giving them out, it's the master of ceremonies, which is the oriate, which is another point. You want to have an oriate at each ceremony to facilitate.
Like you may not need an oriate there just because you're getting your beads or your words, but at any important ceremony, especially crowning, I'd say have oriate there. But I mean, obviously, my opinion doesn't matter because I'm not in Ocha or Santeria. But the oriate basically is master of ceremony, so he's beyond being crowned, has been to a lot of ceremonies, know how all the ceremonies work. And if people aren't doing things properly out of ignorance or negligence, he'll step in and says, "Oh no, it needs to be this way. It needs to be that way."
Exactly.
So things can still get really messed up with an oriate present there, and there are bad oriates, but their whole job is to make sure that you're not being screwed over. So it's a really good idea to have an Oriate present.
Definitely. Yeah.
And you can bring outside people in, like they have to agree, but you can bring outside people there to represent you. Basically,
Yeah,
like.
to a degree. Not everybody's in accordance with all that and stuff. You have friends that are priests or priestesses, and you want them involved in the ceremony to make sure everything's in check. You could, as long as you
But that's the job of an Oriate,
That's the job of
basically.
an Oriate, exactly.
So that's one way to prevent yourself getting messed over in your ceremonies is have an Oriate present.
Exactly.
Because it's their job to make sure everything's done properly. Whether or not they do their job, that's their whole purpose for being there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Make sure everything runs smoothly, everything runs correctly. Yeah.
So I guess we'll just touch on really quickly about knowing who your head Orisha is, even though we're not going to have like a 20-minute conversation because we've already been on here for like 35 minutes. But basically, it has to be done in person. There has to be several people present. The most true way, which isn't, I'm not going to say controversial, is to get marked in Ifa to have 3 Babalaos present.
Minimum.
In person and read you who your head Orisha is. And if you're a female and don't want to go into Ifa for those reasons, or you don't want to go into Ifa, have your godparents present from Lukumi to see that head marking that you are marked that Orisha.
But even in Lukumi, women can't go into Ifa. That's the way it works.
I know, but that's what I'm saying is like, that's why if I'm having my head marked by Babalaos, I would want my godparents to be there from Ocha, because in Ocha they're going to be crowning you that Orisha, but they need to witness that was done.
Right.
Basically, because you can't just say, oh yeah, I went to a Babalao and they marked me this. It's like they need actually to be present and see that.
Exactly.
So there's no point in really getting your head marked if you don't have godparents to witness that, to be crowned that in the future, because then you're going to have to get your head marked all over again, unless it's just for your own knowledge, but you're not going to be able to really do much with that unless you want to just try to pray to them and build a relationship. It's your own curiosity.
Yeah, but I just say like the proper way is that you don't just go ahead and not have a godparent. Some people do start the Mount Darula ceremony first before anything. They have no Lukumi godparents,
which is fine. So Mano Darula basically is for protection, so you don't die before your time. Through the cult of Arula, basically is protection against death, or Iku.
Yeah, Iku. Yep.
Which that's good to have.
Yeah.
It protects against witchcraft, people trying to kill you.
Exactly. Unnatural causes of death, basically.
And so when you get your Mano Darula, you receive an Orisha. You actually receive Arula, and you get an Eshu. And do you get the bracelet with the yellow and the green beads?
Yes, you do.
For Arula.
That's correct.
But then you have an Ide with a bracelet of Abatala and Yamaya, right, your parents together on your.
And you also get this bracelet, which one goes into your crowned Orisha's Tinaha or Sopera.
I did not know that.
Which represents the marriage and divine union between yourself and your.
It's like marrying an Orisha when you get crowned.
Exactly.
Whether or not you're a boy or a girl, or they're a boy or a girl.
Exactly.
So that bracelet, the silver one, represents Abatala.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's other ones that go in there regardless. It's like the silver one could be like for Oshun.
Oh yeah, it has her copper bracelet.
Yeah. But like an Oshun child, I think, or is it an Oya child? I keep forgetting this. One that has like multiple
bangles.
But
does everybody get an Ide that gets crowned, or can you get an Ide before you're crowned? Your bracelet?
Yeah, only if you're crowned.
Only if you're crowned, you wear that bracelet.
Yeah. That's how you know somebody's a Santero. So
if someone's wearing beads, they may not be a Santero. They may not be a Santera. They just received their beads, basically.
Exactly.
Right. So that's one thing. Mm-hmm. Cool and interesting. So does anybody else have any questions? I hope you enjoyed this chat with the Santero about receiving your beads and warriors and things that you need to look for and ways that you can protect yourself to know if your ceremonies were done correctly, basically.
That's right.
Yeah. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks. Oh, yeah. This is what I wanted to ask you now, remember. When you get crowned, you get...
It depends which Orisha you get crowned. Because, for example, an Oya or a Yemaya will not get Oya or Yemaya automatically right then and there with the ceremony of being crowned. Because, like, some beef about the Oya Yemaya thing, they're like, Yemaya used to own the Santeria and Oya used to own the ocean, and they traded spots and all this stuff. So, for example,
You have to do them in different ceremonies.
yeah, you have to do them at a later time. So how to charge the bracelet? I wouldn't say you necessarily like charge the bracelet. The energy of the Orisha and everything is already placed inside with the stones and the secrets and stuff.
It's like perma-charged.
So it'll be like permanently charged. Like that bracelet for that Orisha will be charged with the Orisha's energy. So maybe
During your ceremonies. When you're
I don't know
crowned.
if they necessarily wash it with Omira or anything like that, but even if the bracelet by itself goes into the Sopera or the Tinaha, I would feel that it would really have the energy of that Orisha. But the point is, because
It walks with you anyway, because you're crowned.
it's a symbolic
Yeah.
action of saying this Orisha is married to me.
It's like a wedding ring,
silver
right?
bangle inside of there.
It's like a wedding ring.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. Like I never take off this metal.
And you never take it off, so you...
Some people take it off before when they go shower and stuff, but I personally, I just keep it on like...
You can wear it 24/7, the bracelet.
I just wear it 24/7, yeah.
And just because someone has a green and yellow Mano Duarula bracelet, that doesn't mean that they're crowned. It just means they received the Ikofa, they received that ceremony.
That's right.
They received a Rula.
That's right.
So you actually do receive Orisha.
But some people can do parts of the Mano Duarula ceremony and have just a bracelet, and not the actual Orishas and stuff. So
interesting.
With that, it's like you don't know 100%, but most of the time people have the bracelet and the necklace of a Rula have gone through the whole entire Mano Duarula ceremony.
So I won't say initiated or uninitiated when it comes to being crowned or not being crowned, because some people say, yeah, you're initiated because you received beads and warriors and you received Orishas and you have Orisha in your house, so you are initiated even though you're not crowned. So that's a weird word, initiated. There's a lot of speculation around the word initiated, but you can tell someone's Santero if they have that necklace, the bracelet, the Ide. This means you're crowned, the bracelet.
Exactly.
And they should have Orishas in the stones in the soup tureens, basically.
Yes, or in the big, huge vases and stuff.
Or a big vase.
So,
or back in Africa, just the stones. They just use the stones. They don't have a pot, I don't even think.
They have
in Ifa sometimes
vases and certain receptacles they use in Africa, actually.
I've seen just like stones on dirt too before. I don't know if that's correct. But hey, they had the stones. So yeah, you can wear the bracelet showering. You can wear the bracelet sleeping.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. So real Orisha Shrine has stones in pots, and these items that we talked about, not just plastic statues, not just a printed picture in a frame.
Basically, there's other things that go on. It's not a secret place. Like it's stones and shells, basically.
And their tools is not mandatory. Even I heard like you don't need to put the set of tools for Obatala or Olokun, those metal different charms.
Some lineages don't even use.
So they don't even use those.
Don't even use tools. And they say that was really invented.
I would want them, but it's not.
I personally like them because you can
do stuff. You can
wash them in a mirror. You can use them to do certain actions and stuff, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a lot of info. More than like really what I've seen anywhere about the ceremonies, and there's really no reason for you guys even to know these things unless you're seriously thinking about entering it. But just so you know, someone's bullshitting you or not, that if they're giving you beads and they haven't sung over each one, you could be like,
But some of the houses don't even sing over each bead, but they should, in my opinion. It's more of a complete ceremony. People will argue that they...
Okay, so there's controversy over that.
Yeah, there's controversy over that too.
But what are you really doing if you don't wash them, if you don't sing on them? What are you doing? Just here you go.
Well, there's a certain action of how they give it to you. That's all I can really say.
There's gestures.
But nobody's going to know until they've gone through it, basically.
Oh, so I have actually 2 other questions, and then we'll cut this off. So you have Orisha in your home, you got your Mano de Arula, you're not crowned, but you have your warriors, you have Orishas there, you receive Arula, who isn't one of the warriors. You actually have Orishas, you actually have Orishas in your house. At that point, I would argue that you're an Aborisha. You might not be crowned, so you're not a Santero.
You're an owner of Orisha.
But you have Orisha in your house, so you're not an Aleyu at that point, which is considered an outsider.
Yeah.
So the word Aleyo is you're an outsider. Maybe you come to tambours, maybe you go to drummings, but you haven't received Orisha. That's the correct term, right?
Well, if you haven't received Orisha, I would argue that you're an Aleyo.
You're an Aleyo. But what if you just get beads? Are you an Aleyo?
Yes.
Because you haven't received Orisha yet.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I would say.
So that's a term.
People will say you're an Aleyo all the way up until you are crowned, but I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that either. I think if you receive Orisha, you're an Aborisha.
Yeah, because Aborisha means owner of Orisha.
Owner of Orishas in your home.
Yes.
The other thing is, okay, now I have another question. Can't just bring your Orishas home and plop them on the floor like you have a welcoming ceremony to do for them?
Which is the entrada ceremony, which is only for warriors. There's no entrada ceremony for anything else.
So entrada de Ibo means that there's special offerings?
They do things at the door, from my understanding, to give entrance and let the Orisha recognize that they are living in the dwelling spot of the home.
And then they have something to say about where they live sometimes if you're going to move.
I don't think it's like if you are not crowned, you can't necessarily throw Obi depending to ask.
But what I'm saying is, like, I want to move to a new apartment and I have my warriors.
Then you get a reading. They
have something to say about that.
You get a reading, just be like, Siva Leguan, the Orishas basically agree with you moving to that spot.
Or not.
So
yeah, there's a welcoming ceremony. So if you're international and say I fly to Florida and I bring my warriors home, that could be a problem because I need to do entrada de Ibo. So I might have to actually fly people to my.
Oh yeah, you would.
I actually have to fly people to Canada.
Yeah.
To do the entrada de Ibo, like eventually. Right. Yeah. So that's another thing, a consideration too, I guess.
It's true.
Right. Okay. So the final thing I'm going to say is, do you get, like, when you get crowned, you get numbers or letters basically of restrictions, ways to live your life, to save your life at some point if you need it. You get a whole list of things like you need to do this and you need to not do this. You basically get a Dilogon reading of numbers of like you are this number. Yeah,
an instruction manual how to live your life basically.
When you're crowned. Do you get this? You were saying you get an Odu every single time you receive an Orisha.
You do. Yeah, there's every time you receive an Orisha, besides the fact of crowning, you get like one number or something like this.
Only one?
Only one.
You don't get like a 3-4, you only get like a 3?
Yeah, you get one number. They do one throw of Dilagoon in the lavatorio, which is what they do when they wash the Orisha and all this stuff with the Omiro plant mixture.
So do you get
you get advice. You get advice on what the Orisha has to speak to you.
You get, but it's not your living, but you do get an Odu when the warriors are born.
Technically, you would, but I've never seen it mentioned to myself in any instance of having it.
But you've received warriors. It's a long story. Why? Because if people throw out your Orishas or other shit or life happens, and you have to keep receiving them again if you don't still have them. So in all the cases that you've received your warriors, they never gave you an Odu?
Never.
But it can be done, or it is done.
But there is an Odu. There's an Odu out there that they have to record or something like that.
They just didn't let you know what it was.
They just never told me. I don't know why.
So I would ask that. I would want to know that.
Yeah.
What's my lettering? What's my number?
Which number? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you get one for like one for.
So you get one for each Orisha.
One for each Orisha. Yeah.
That's their advice to you. But that's not your life path number because you're not going to get that until you're crowned.
That's right.
Which you shouldn't share to people. You should not share that.
At least to your godparents.
Well, they're going to know because they're crowning you.
Unless you left that Elay and you joined your house, then you got to
trust them and talk to them about your numbers.
Exactly.
So every time you receive Orisha, you get an Odu. from them, from that Orisha.
A number, yeah.
So you receive Olokun, you get an Odu. You receive...
It could be like an 8, it could be a 10, it could be a 12, it could be a 16. You know, it goes up to 16. That's right.
But don't Babalaos only read past number...
Yes, but they would. But an Oriate who's there would have to be knowledgeable enough to give you the information, because it's not going to...
At least preliminary information.
Yeah.
So how high... Okay, this is the thing. How high... You do the shells, and you get numbers from 1 to...
16.
I guess you can get 0.
You can get
0 to 16. But Santeros only read up to number 12 or 13. So if they throw something and they get a 14 to a 16, it usually means you have to go to a...
Or 13 to a 16.
13 to 16, it usually means you have to go to a Babalao.
That's right.
For interpretation.
But they still have to give you some information too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I received Olokun and I got a 14-14, I probably need to go talk to a Babalao.
Probably.
Probably a good idea.
More than likely, yeah.
So, final thing we'll talk about is knowing who your head Orisha is. So you go in person, you go get your angel pulled, is what it's called.
Yes. And this is not done with tarot cards or anything.
Right.
Coins.
That's stupid.
Or coconut or anything. It's
tarot cards for your Orisha? No, thank you. No. It's done with
don't matter with
they use cola nuts,
yeah.
Or the ikin, the chain.
The kings, yeah.
The chain with the discs.
No, they'd use the kings. It's supposed to.
The cola nuts.
The cola
is
nuts.
ikin, IKIN, right?
IKIN.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they actually use cola nuts.
From what I understand, the other palm nuts, I believe. They're palm nuts.
I thought they were cola nuts, but yeah, palm nuts.
No,
okay.
they're palm nuts, from my understanding.
They don't use calories.
No, absolutely not.
To find out your angel.
Unless it's an Oriate doing it.
Okay. So there's 2 different ways to do it. You can go to Ifa and have your godparents and Ocha witness that. Mm-hmm. Or does it have to be an Oriate? It can just be a Santero that marks your head.
An Oriate.
At least an Oriate.
Yes.
It should be, or
it should be an Oriate.
Can a Santero do it though?
Yes.
But most people won't recommend that or recognize that.
Recognize it, yeah.
Because
there's no one of legitimacy who has a title in the name who's an Oriate. And they won't abide to that because they'll say, Ifa didn't do it, and there's Odus that talk about how Ifa is supposed to do it, basically.
Basically, it's the rule that Ifa is supposed to do it according to some Odus.
Exactly.
Is what's being claimed.
Yes. Very much. That's not even a claim. It's a fact.
It's a inconvenient truth.
For many people.
Yeah. So no one else is asking any questions. I myself, again, am not in Santeria.
There's actually a lot more that went on here.
Properly called Ocha. Oh my gosh, there are questions. We didn't look down there. We should start a podcast. So does one number supersede the others, or they are equal? The first one pulled is the first number, which supersedes the other, I think, right?
No, it's like a binary system for everything. But the point of the matter is that you get 2 numbers when a Santero does, but I think
a 3-4, a 5-6, an 8-9. It
could be anything like that from 1
but
to
does
16.
Does the first number more important though? I think is what he's asking.
No, they're all equally important because with the whole lettering, you can't get all the information. You can't just do a reading of just one number. Basically.
Because the story is about an 8-9. The story is not just about an 8.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's why.
Unless you're just getting your Orisha receiving it's a 1 number.
They give you 1 letter
the letter is 2 numbers. The letter counts as 2 numbers. So it could be 3, 6, 4, 6.
But you only get 1 number with an Orisha?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's you gain crown, then you get the Ita.
That's your Ita is your life path.
Yes.
Basically. Your manual of how to live your life from now on.
Yeah, that's correct.
Or you didn't know, but now you know.
Now you know. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, just finally about getting your angel pulled from Ifa. It's just some people just feel like it settles the matter. Basically, there's going to be no question about it. It could be completely correct.
In terms of
if an Oriate like pulls your,
it's accepted. It's accepted.
it's
Not
fine,
not a popular opinion,
but it's just like if you did get it witnessed by 3 Babalaos, it's considered set in stone. Like,
yeah, no one's going to argue that.
That Arula is the master diviner as the Ifa path, right? So that's why, right?
Right, because Arula is a witness to creation. He's like Eleven Parody or whatever they call it. Yeah, or Eleven Parody.
So he saw you basically when you were born, and that's the reason why.
Yeah, it's like he saw Ori choose its destiny, all this stuff for you. Ori chose its destiny by choosing the Orisha that would be crowned, helping guide you through a lot of stuff. But Ori goes through a lot more to support you than Orisha does, basically. And
that's why you should also pray to your Ori when you're beginning, if you want to go on this path, that
to help guide you to find the right house, to find the right people, to bring you the things.
Who's an Orisha? Ori, O-R-I, is an Orisha.
Yes, Ori is an Orisha.
That everybody has.
You even receive it too, which I think is kind of weird. But it's always with you, it's like that God spark, basically, is Ori.
So that's just our advice, is to have an Oriate present, and if you're going to get your angel pulled, go through Ifa and have Babalaos present. And other people, they're capable of doing it, like an Oriate, like we said, but that's just my personal opinion and what I would want for myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And you actually, there's 2 more things.
I think Tata Victor.
Hi, Tata Victor. It's my god, bro. I have 2 more things actually to talk. I have 2 more things actually.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh my god, that's a huge question. Jason. But we're going to stick to the subject matter is, so 2 other things is, so when you had your angel pulled by an Oriate, who we won't say who it is, and you had your angel pulled by Babalaos in person, yes. But it didn't match up. They said 2 different Orishas. 2
completely different Orishas. Yet the first Orisha did try to jump in and speak up, and then like Alpha was like, "No, we're not
cancel that,"
and then asked straight for Obatala, and it came out to be a child Obatala.
Okay, because I'm looking into foraying my own path into here. Basically, who you choose as your godparents. Mm-hmm. In a weird way, it can affect who your crowning Orisha is, because they'll ask, or may not, but the way they ask in order, is it this person? Is it that person?
It's true.
They may have a preference for you, or just, say I chose a godparent who is crowned Oshun, mm-hmm. and I'm going to Babalaos to mark my head. Who asks first? The Babalao ask first?
No, out of respect, they have to have the godparent ask first.
So they don't ask, do they even crown Arula? They don't crown Arula, do they? No, they do not. That's the other thing. We saw this bullshit ceremony on Facebook the other day. They had an Arula, a wooden pot on their head, on a woman's head. Yeah, and then they had a white sheet above, which is like a spiritismo above their head and stuff like that.
Oh my god.
Which was a total bullshit ceremony. Trash. So your godparent will ask. So like, say my prospective godparent is crowned Oshun, and she really sees me as an Oshun. The first question she's going to ask is, to the Babalao, is your head Orisha Oshun? And that might change things, because maybe I choose somebody else who's crowned Shango, and they're going to ask, is your guardian angel Shango first before Oshun's even asked?
Right.
Do you think that might change things?
You mean like if there was an angel pulling prior, and then they went to another person?
If I kept.
I mean, out of respect, it should be like, let's say like.
But they ask their crown out of respect. Is that why?
No, I was saying like.
No, but a priestess of Oshun is going to ask her, is it Oshun her crown first out of respect? Is that how it works?
She'd ask out of respect if you got an angel pulled before. And it wasn't Ifa, because Ifa has final say. They would ask the angel that was pulled prior to see if it changed.
Okay, so if I had another reading and they said your angel is Shango, and that was like 10 years ago, so things change.
Yeah.
They would ask, is it Shango again? I would give them that information, and they would ask that first.
Exactly.
And then the godparent, prospective godparent, would ask if it's their crown next, out of respect, or no,
Or they'd ask whoever they feel it
or
is.
whoever they feel it is.
Yeah. Now Jason's asking his questions. What am I gonna say?
Can magic be mixed, like
I'd say
witchcraft?
no. You can't just take like Hecate and put like go together and do some weird ritual thing. No.
Like no, like two paths can't be mixed.
But what I'd say is people will even say you can't do two different traditions in one day. But this is like my counterpoint to that is like if you did like a Santeria ceremony or something like this in one day, it's probably best not to do anything else. But if you have the knowledge of magic and like to banish energies and you know how to properly banish energies, you could properly banish those energies and then do something different completely in that day. So I feel it wouldn't clash. But personally, I wouldn't even try to even attempt to cross that line.
Well, I think what he's asking is actually something different. I think he's asking like something that's really traditionally done in Wicca is like a witch's ladder where you make like 9 knots on a string to like bind something. Could you put that like in front of the gede or something? I'd say like no, because it's not really like a magic they would even really like recognize. But you can take
clash though.
Yeah, so you could
you wouldn't use like Norse
runes and put it in front of
and do that kind of
Yeah.
stuff like with like Galder, and then try to do like
wouldn't do that.
Ocha or Palo type stuff. It just like the energy
Beyond mixing deities, though, if we just talk about witchcraft, like there's something
I'd say no.
you really can't do. Something you probably could combine, like we don't really work with phases of the moon in voodoo or something, but you could if you wanted to, you know. So it just depends on what you're trying to do. But aspects of witchcraft is not really voodoo either. So it's more depending on what path and what lineage you come from. Like it's more almost like working with saints. It's almost more like saint based than it is like I'm gonna make this and put it over here. You know, it's almost like yeah, I'm doing this like with voodoo, but it's not actually voodoo. So yeah, you can mix some witchcraft in, but depends on what you're actually doing, I guess you would have to say.
Yeah.
And as per the difference between Santeria, witchcraft, and voodoo, let's just do Santeria and voodoo. Santeria has orishas. Voodoo really does not, although orishas do come in like certain pathways. Like you wouldn't put Olokun on a Haitian voodoo shrine because we don't really. I'm not even in Haitian voodoo, but we don't really have that concept of Olokun. We do have a concept of like Ogu Yansa as Oya or Ogu Shango as Shango, but as you can see, it's still an Ogu and it's still a man, even if it's like an aspect of Oya that Ogun absorbed as part of the Nago Nation. That's getting like
Ogu Yansa.
Yeah, some people do.
Really interesting.
But as you can see, they're all still Oguns, and he heads all the Yoruban spirits of that nation. The whole nation is served kind of like under him, and you don't just pick and choose anyways. I know like some lineages people really start mixing things, but that's not really correct. And also Santeria has a lot of rules. It's called Regla de Santo for a reason. It's very regimented, and even Haitian voodoo has a lot more ceremonies of things that need to be done like a certain way. And I'd say like Sanse and Dominican voodoo, like beyond like initiations and certain works, it's a lot more spiritual and it's a lot more inspired. We don't have like as many rules and regulations that these other traditions really have. So I'd say like they're all different religions. Witchcraft's not a religion. Wicca is a religion. You can say witchcraft is just like folk magic, but Wicca is a religion, voodoo is a religion, and Santeria is a religion. So they're all different things. Everybody thinks that it's all just magic, but it's not.
So
how would your spirit guides fit into Ocha if they are a voodoo background? Through Spiritismo, because most houses of Ocha practice a Spiritismo, even though a Spiritismo is not Ocha. So whenever you're working Mesa Blanca or you're working your Boveda is when you would work with your voodoo spirit guide. And I don't really think that they really have that emphasis or really pay attention to that as much in the Spiritismo. Maybe in Ocha, maybe Maurizio can speak a little bit more to that. Like it's controversial for us. We could have a dead Africana who was crowned a Batala, who was a Hungan crowned Ogun or Mertresali. Like, we can have that. Like, that's perfectly acceptable and fine to us to have that. And we know that and recognize that. I don't know if they do that so much in Ocha.
They respect that in the Spiritismo, but in Ocha,
within Ocha and the Spiritismo.
Ocha is different.
No, but within a Spiritismo in Ocha, would they really say like, I have a?
They try not to talk about.
I have a voodoo.
About the voodoo or the Ocha stuff in the Spiritismo.
They try to really keep it separate, but it would just be another dead that just did that, just like you had a dead Hindu spirit that worked with Ganesh or something, or Shiva or something. Yeah, it would be handled more in a Spiritismo. You basically answered your own question there.
You would say something.
Yeah. So there's 21 divisions. Iris has one more question.
I'm just trying to read that, but
no, go down.
The way this goes down is really horrible.
There's 21 divisions bringing spirits from other paths. I'd say probably no, unless they also do Spiritismo, because there's Spiritismo in the Dominican Republic as well, and Sanse, which includes in Spiritismo as well in the Dominican Republic. How is that different than mixing traditions? They don't really. They do voodoo and they have saints in 21 divisions.
Yeah.
Some of them may have Orisha, like family Orisha, like they'll say like my family's had Shango for 8 generations now, but they're not going to be working with like a pantheon of Orisha, like mixing things, and they have very different ways of working with Orisha in voodoo and they're not even really, it's not the same because it would be more from Africa, or it would come through again the Nago nation. So it's a completely different way of working with them than working with them in Santeria. It's completely different. Yeah. That's why you're not mixing it, because they don't do it the same way. Not that I know anyway. Like, they might be like spiritual, like, oh, like I want to have a Ganesh by my door and elephants bring me good luck, and it's more like an archetypal energy, but they're not going to claim that they're Hindu priests doing Hinduism with the whole pantheon. I wouldn't think. Yeah. And maybe they're a lot more open-minded that way than someone like me. I'm kind of a rule stickler. I'm kind of
Me too.
What is it called? It's called orthodox if you stick to the rules. I think it is.
I guess so, yeah.
I think it is. Like, I want to do things authentically. I don't want to start mixing stuff in. Okay, so I think we should cut this off. This has been extremely long. I just want to help people, and it's just stuff that I found out recently in looking into receiving beads and warriors, I guess. So if you guys have any more questions, you can hit up Maurizio at Readings by Ritz.
That's right.
He has readings too, or any basic questions about your ceremonies, or looking into getting into it.
Very recently, the ancestral court investigation type readings. So
doing more spiritismo.
More spiritismo on that front. Mm-hmm. It takes me at least a week to do.
And not everybody is crowned in a spiritismo in Ocha either. Right. Like, a lot of houses in Ocha do a spiritismo, but not every single one. So they don't all have bovedas.
I'd say every house would talk about having bovedas.
I mean, I think it's important. I think the majority do, but just because you don't do it, again, it doesn't mean it's incorrect, because it's a separate tradition within a tradition.
They have a way of working with Agun in Lukumi.
A more African way.
They'll still tell you to have a boveda. I've never seen a Lukumi house or an Ifa house saying that you can't or shouldn't have a boveda. But I think boveda is amazing.
But they have like an Egun shrine, obviously, is a more African and different traditional way of working with your dead than having a boveda.
Right.
So they might not even have a boveda.
Which could be possible, but
right.
I'd say very
uncommon not to have it.
Not to have a boveda.
So, last question. Boveda, is that only for spirit? That's only for spirit guides in Ocha, or do you guys put ancestors on there?
I've never seen why it can't be for ancestors.
See, that's what I thought, but I talked to an Olarishi the other day that's like, it's just for guides. Maybe that's what they do, and that's fine, but
Oh, as you can tell, is for all of your dead.
That's what we do in Sanse. We combine them.
Including your ancestors. So
Yeah.
I'll see what you can. That's just my understanding.
Our voodoo and center are similar to the other, completely different.
Completely different.
Completely different.
Yeah, one has Loa and the other
Like I
one
said,
has
yeah,
Orisha.
one has Loa, one has Orisha. One has a lot more rules and different ways of working things, different drum beats, different songs, different language, different parts of Africa, different parts of the Caribbean.
Yep.
The only similarity is they're both African.
Yeah, exactly.
They both receive offerings.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
They both have priests. They're both religions.
That's right.
I mean, I don't think you can really say anything else that's similar about them, really.
Exactly. Okay. Well,
okay. We'll cut this off.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Right.
I hope this helps a lot of people. Like and share. And I'm going to put this on my YouTube channel, too.
Right, awesome.
Bye.
Bye.